here with Jeremy Treat, and we're talking sports and theology, two subjects that maybe sometimes you would think wouldn't go together, but just everything in life should be, for Christians, should be thought about theologically, and we're doing that with sports today. How does this practically work out? You've laid out in a previous video a little bit about, just kind of this overview, but practically, what advice do you give to people?
Yeah, I think the gospel affects everything in our lives, right? And I think that's true for sports as well. And I think one of the ways I try and help athletes with it is that the gospel gives you, the gospel is not going to give you a better batting average. It's not going to increase your vertical leap as much as I would want that. But what the gospel will do is it gives you a new purpose, a new identity, and a new ethic. And I think these are just huge in sports. Think about our purpose. Why do we play sports? So often, it's to justify ourselves, to prove ourselves to the world, to make something of ourselves. And yet, when we know that we're justified through the blood of Christ, I don't have to put the weight of that on sports. So then I can enjoy sports for what they are. They're not a way for me to justify myself. Identity is huge. Yeah. For me as an athlete, I know my identity was wrapped up in sports and my accomplishments. But in the gospel, we are identified not by our accomplishments and what we do, but what God has accomplished for us in Christ. And then ethics are huge. In sports, you have an idol of winning at all costs, which creates a lot of sacrificing integrity. And so I think the gospel gives us a new ethic where we have different standards in the way that we play sports, watch sports, everything involved in that.
Yeah, that's really helpful. How has this played out for you practically and personally in your life?
Yeah, it's been huge. I rember being in college when I was playing basketball, and that I spent so much of my time in the gym, in the weight room, watching film. And I remember this tension of I spent all this time here, and then I read my Bible a little bit. Mm-hmm. And yet I say I love God the most. Yeah. And I realized that they're not in competition, but what I'm doing with the opportunities God has given me, the gifts and anything like that, it's a part of it for me with that. So one of the things for me is talking about trying to justify ourselves through sports. That was huge for me. Yeah. My accomplishments, whether they were good that I would look back on and find my identity in them, or whether they were bad and my failures and saying I'm the guy who messed up or missed that shot or didn't make it this far. So for me, learning to find my justification in Christ alone and having that shape my identity practically is just life-changing for me.
Yeah. This played out for me when I was in college, and I got on the team. Of course, Division I sports. Everyone on the team was their high school's team's best player. Yeah. And so everyone was the superstar at their high school or on their club soccer team. So I can remember getting on there, all these great players. And of course, there's only 11 starting spots, and the 18 guys make the travel team. We had 26, 27 guys on the whole team. So all these guys are used to being the star, now not even traveling. Yeah. And what I saw happen, and for so many of the guys on the team, is they didn't enjoy it. Right. It was like they enjoyed if they were the best. They enjoyed if they got, if they got to win. They enjoyed if they kind of got puffed up because they were their best. But now that they weren't the best anymore, it was no longer enjoyable. Yeah. It wasn't that they were enjoying the game, they were enjoying the kind of fame, even at a small level, that the game was providing.
It's fleeting because there's always someone who's coming up, right? Who's more athletic, who's got the next thing, and that you can't keep up with it. That's why if you make sports an idol, it will eventually let you down.
All idols let you down.
Exactly.
And sports, especially today, with all the multiple 24-hour sports channels, it can be all assuming. You can easily find yourself, spending your entire Saturday in front of the television, your entire Sunday in front of the television. And I think that's a challenge of saying, okay, not that that's necessarily bad, but is this consuming my life? Yeah. And I think fantasy sports teams aren't bad, but how much time are we investing in it? There's some obvious, simple things that, we can begin to evaluate our life with. What is our priority? Yeah. So think through sports, just like all life. Sports is something that is not bad, and God has given us that. God has given us recreation. But sports are not God, and if we're finding our identity in sports rather than God, then then we're actually worshiping in some sense sports, and that's an area that's sin in our life. It's oftentimes the good things that are the most dangerous things. So enjoy sports, but think through it theologically, worship God.